In this video, we want to continue on and set up so when we spawn, we receive our health. So currently when we spawn, we end up with 100 health each time. When we press F, it decrements. Well, I want us to spawn, what the heck now? I want us to spawn with the value specified in the database. So I want us to have 90 health when we first spawn. So we go to on process request complete. We go through, we can see what all happens. We convert to player data, we get our player data just fine. That's all set up and fine and dandy. We just need to just control our health. So that's kind of the main reason I have it set up this way. So here we have our new pawn. We do kind of whatever we need. We go through and we possess it. Well, we have access to the pawn/player, so we can go ahead and set it through this. Now what I'm going to do is I want to change it from a pawn, because I already know the character class, to a persistent tutorial character. That's going to be the type. And if you haven't already, we have to include that like it did right here. This guy. So project name, then the character. And after that, we can do whatever we want. So we can do new pawn, set health, and the health we're going to set is our player data. Dot, and I do not have it fully accessible, do I? So I'm going to create player data up at the top, outside of everything, like so. That way we have access to it. And then player data dot. So this should set it up to be 90. Not exactly sure. Yeah, whatever. So that way, we also will want to make a slight change as well. So we want the default for health to be 100. Actually, scratch that. We already did that. So that way, new players, whenever they spawn, we have this part where we go through and we pretty much fill out the location and stuff like that for where we want to spawn our player. But when we get down to here, even if it was invalid, so if let's say we don't have an entry in the database, nothing, we're going to skip this. This else statement's going to run, printing failed to our log, and then this is going to run regardless. So if we do not have an entry in the database, we simply spawn on the default location that we have, which is just 0, 0, 0. So that way, if we have it, an entry in the database, we can go through, we can apply the location to our data structure, our location vector, and then go through. And when we spawn, we set our health to 100 because it's 100 by default. So that leaves us with one slight issue. Let's go to our header. We want to set health by default week 100 and the header as well. So now that we have that set up, let's go ahead and build. And I have to restart the editor and relaunch the project. Okay, let's relaunch or reopen the other tabs that we have and see what happens. So I press play. All right, we're still at 100. So that could be related to the client, because remember, this is going to be replicated. So what we're doing is we're setting our health on the server, but on the client, we have it as 100 by default. We don't have any way to know what the actual health value is on the client, because the server knows it, the client does not. So we're going to have to set up some basic replication. Same thing for when we go to set our health. We're going to make sure we go to the server. So for example, if I play as a listen server and hit play, you can see my health is now 90. And that's because we're the server. We know what that value is. So if we go back to the client, we're going to have that same issue of it just not knowing at all what's going on. So that's what we need to fix. And in the process, I want to remove all this VR related crap because I am not using it. Just to get it out of the way. It's pretty much everything. And just the basic inputs. Yeah, so that's it. So in our header, let me actually clear that out from here as well. We want to make health replicated. So we're going to do uProperty and make it replicated. So because we're doing that, we have to do our virtual void. Oh, what was it? Do rep lifetime. Do rep lifetime replicated props. Get lifetime replicated props. So virtual void get lifetime replicated props, a T array of F lifetime property. That's by reference. Out lifetime props. There we go. So inside of here, all we do is do rep lifetime and the class, which is a persistence tutorial character, and then the variable, which is health that we're going to replicate. So we have to, well, like it says here, include net Unreal Network.h. So up in the includes, go ahead and include net Unreal Network.h just to go ahead and get that issue out of the way. And I'm going to move this up right below our setup player input. So here we have our health that is now replicated. So our client should receive our new value. So if I were to compile and play with it on the client, we would be good to go. But I do want to do something real quick as well, is replicate our set health. So that way we can set it on the server as well, so the server knows that, hey, we're trying to decrement our health for the saving, so we want to do it that way. And all we have to do there is just do a U function. It's going to be a server because of server RPC, reliable, and with validation, void server underscore set health, pass in the health value. So we're going to do actually new health. Then we're going to have bool. Actually, scratch that. Keep forgetting that it generates it for us now. So after you have server underscore set health, you can generate the implementation and the validate functions. So for the validate, we're just going to return true. And I always move it above out of habit, the implementation. And on the implementation, we simply do call set health and pass in new health. So we're doing pretty much a loop-de-loop. So we go, if we're on the client, we go from set health. We're going to do a check. So if does not have authority, we do server underscore set health and pass in new health. Otherwise, we set our health. So we can actually, I'm just going to reverse these. So if we have authority, meaning we're the server, we go ahead and set our health. If we do not have authority, meaning we're the client, we call server set health, which then runs the implementation, which then calls set health again, which we will now be on the server, in which case we set the health. And because it's replicated, the health will now trickle down to the clients. So we are good to go. Let's go ahead and do a build, and I will do a step through out of pretty much what we just did at the end of this video. So hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense. So I'm going to go ahead and relaunch the project. Open up everything else. I really don't need the widget open anymore. So now let's hit play. And we have the health of 90. And we are the client. So that's a neat one. Let me look through this real quick. So I had to viewport's the issue. Why? Yeah, not all that concerned about it. Oh, yeah, that's right. We want to make sure we're not the server. So we're going to do a switch authority. And if we are remote, then we create the widget, like so. So now, on, press escape, no more issue. Okay, now we just have the odd kind of whatever thing of us floating in the air. So I'm going to lower our Z coordinate by just to 2000, hit apply, and see if we were just up too high. No. So I'm not entirely sure what's causing that issue, but I'm going to check it out real quick, so I'll be right back. Alrighty, I have no clue how long it took me to actually figure this issue out, but that whole entire issue, you can see I put some of the, oh wait, no, I got rid of the VR stuff still. Out of the, let me remove it again real quick. All that happened was because I forgot to call super. So just because I didn't call super on get lifetime replicated props, just about everything regarding replication kind of crapped itself. So now when I hit play, we are good to go. We fall just as normal. And I have to real quickly link this back up because I tried a couple of things. You can see now health is at 100. So let me double check replication and everything like that. We are, I set health last time above it, even though I don't think that really matters. We have our health that is replicated, server set health. We're going through, health is replicated. So let me just confirm and restart the editor to make sure everything's okay. Alrighty. And I've just remembered why it's saying 100 instead of 90. That's because I did a quick change here. So PID needs to be 1235, not 12356. So let me apply it. And now we have a valid entry, so we should spawn way up here. And we have our health at 90. And again, we are on the client. So even if we switch to playing as a server, for example, we still have everything working. You can see we spawned up there. We don't have the widget displaying, but that's just simply because of how we actually spawned this guy. So we need to be kind of the owning. Let's see. Is locally controlled. That actually should probably solve it too. We do a branch. So if we're locally controlled, we create the widget. Let's try. So play as a client, and it appears. Play as a server. What the heck did I hit? And it also appears. So we're good to go now. So I'm going to go a run through of pretty much everything we just did because I know it was a decent amount of back and forth. But to sum it up, just like what we did with our location, once we go through and we actually spawn our character, like our pawn, we call our set health function on it, and we pass in the health value that we received from the database. So if we did not receive anything, we would just have a simple health value of 100, meaning we are a fresh player, so it doesn't matter anyways. So that's completely fine and taken care of. So then, once we run through, health is set up in our character and it's replicated because remember, this is all in the controller and this is all happening on the server, not the client. So because health is replicated, we are able to see and get our health value that the server pretty much has authority of. So when the server changes it from 100 to 90, because it's 100 by default for us on the client, when they change it to 90, we will receive that change within, a couple milliseconds depending on latency. So that allows us to have our health be replicated and displaying the proper value down here. So we're at 90 right now. If I change this, we can, let's drop it down to 50. Apply. And now we have our health at 50. So that's how that works. In the next video, I want to go through and I want to try to set it up so we update our stats to the server. So we're going to create a post request instead of a get. So like before, we were doing normal get requests. Let me change the server to post request, and I have to quickly add health real quick. Let's do 55, I guess, and send it. So we do a post request from the game, and our entry gets stored just like this. So here's our health at 55, player ID at 44, and so on. So that's the gist of what's going to be done in the next video. And hopefully it only takes one video because it's not that difficult, but I have a tendency to kind of screw crap up. Especially considering I didn't bother going through, normally I would create a kind of a helper class for HTTP requests where we would pass in delegates and all that kind of stuff to help kind of handle everything. Doing that makes life so much easier because you can perform these requests pretty much effortlessly just within, 2-3 lines of code. And you can create a template function that goes through and will deserialize your classes for or your structs for you very easily. So that might be something to happen, later down the road. But for now, this is what we have. So we have to work on creating a post request next. So that'll be the end. If you like what I'm doing, you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon down in the description below. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to join my Discord. That's also linked down in the description. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.